Hello, and welcome to This Thing Called Life, a podcast dedicated to sharing stories about acts of giving, kindness, compassion, and humanity. Your host, Andy Johnson, will introduce you to powerful stories about organ, eye, and tissue donation from individuals, families, and healthcare teams whose experiences will inspire you and remind you that while life is hard, unpredictable, and imperfect, it's also beautiful. We're so happy you're here. Now let's join the show.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to This Thing Called Life. I'm your host, Andy Johnson, and thank you so much for joining me today. I have two amazing guests with me. I'd like to welcome to the show Jim and Kim Wildenmann. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Good, thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, thank you so much for being here. So let's talk about your journey with transplant. And it's very unique. So you had Crohn's disease.
Yes, I had Crohn's disease, and I also had poor motility. Some people might notice peristalsis, but basically the food would not move through my digestive system. So between those two problems, that was my diagnosis, yes. Okay.
And so Kim, as Jim's wife and partner, what was it like from your perspective? I can't imagine that had to be very painful disease to be battling. What was that like for you, kind of watching and helping him through this?
Well, it went in all different phases from issues kind of here and there every month to then it progressed. So for about 3 years, it was in and out of the hospital at any given time, at any moment. Basically, every morning when I got up, I didn't know what to expect day to day, whether he was going to be able to have food and liquids or whether we would have to run him to the hospital because he would be blocked. I think he was in the hospital over 40 times.
Oh my goodness.
And a lot of that was during COVID too. So at some points I couldn't see him and he would be in for months at a time. So not only worrying about him, but also trying to take care of 2 children and a full-time job, balancing everything. I didn't expect to add nurse to my roles. Right. So it was quite challenging.
Wow. Yes, I can only imagine with especially with having 2 children and not really, you wake up and not knowing what the day would bring. That's got to be very challenging for the both of you, I'm sure. So.
Yes. Well, my one child stayed miles away from me, but then my daughter did help a little on the nursing side. So.
Oh.
But it was a lot for her to go through for sure.
Yeah, so. That's tough.
Because a lot of the time when he was home, he would have to be hooked up to liquid nutrition all day and have, really hydration during the day and then liquid nutrition overnight. So we constantly had to take care of him.
Yes.
And also he ended up having an ileostomy bag that had to be changed. And so it was a lot. Yes. Before he got to the transplant part, he struggled for 3 years. They were trying to figure out if he could get by without having to have the transplant. And he had some resection surgeries. And like I said, they put in the ileostomy bag, but it ultimately nothing worked, and he couldn't even take the liquid nutrition anymore. So that's when we definitely, at our last resort, we had to have a transplant or he would not have been able to live.
Right. So that's a great transition. So this is such a rare transplant, which is why I'm just amazed. I'm always amazed by organ donation because it's just, there's so many the medical advancements and all the things that have been able just to evolve over time. But this is so rare.
Yes, it's very rare. So when I when I finally was referred to Cleveland Clinic, when they said there's nothing else we can do for you in Cincinnati, I was referred to Cleveland Clinic, and I saw the surgeon up there, and I found out during this whole process, they only do about 15 to 20 small intestine transplants a year. So he specializes in intestine and liver transplants, and he does many more liver transplants than he does small intestine. But yeah, it's a very rare surgery. My primary care physician didn't even know they did it.
Wow.
So, but yeah, I'm glad they did it. So
Yes, I'm sure. So with it being so rare, how long was your wait?
So it took about a year from the time they said you need a transplant until I got on the list, because they do all this testing and everything. Basically, from the hair on your head to your toenails, they test every part of your body and make sure that you can survive the surgery. And so I got on, I believe it was in April of 22. And then they said it would probably be about 3 months, and I got the call in June of 22.
So once we finally got on the list, it went
pretty
quickly,
quick.
actually.
Yeah.
It was less than 2 months.
And they in that whole process, they turned down 2 other organs because they weren't a good match. They build this huge detailed database, and they compare the donor with me, blood type and just age and all these different factors and everything like that to make sure it's going to be as successful as it can be, and you have the least possibility of rejecting the organ. So
You are very knowledgeable about the process, I have to tell you.
I lived it
Yes.
when you lived it, and
Yeah.
I asked a lot of questions and spent a lot of time in the hospital talking to people about it. So
Yeah, that's good. So what was it like when you finally got the call? What did that feel like for both of you? Let's start with you. Go ahead.
It was kind of crazy because they said we can call you at any time, and they warn you. So it was up at Cleveland, so we had to be within their radius, and they said as soon as we call you, you have to drop everything and drive to Cleveland because it's such a small window. And so we were laying around on a Sunday night, and it was right about midnight, and Kim was in the office working, and I was out on my special couch, who I had grown accustomed to, and my phone started ringing. It was a 216 number, Cleveland Exchange, and they said, this is it. You got to get to Cleveland. We're pretty sure this is going to be the one. But they again warn you that it could go all the way to, till the surgeon has to approve the organ in the end. And so they said you could come up here and spend the day, and we could send you back home. So it was exhilarating, but then it could be, that part was a little depressing too, that you could go through it all.
Right.
So, and then we spent the day at Cleveland Clinic hoping and waiting, and then around 5 in the evening, they said, it's time to go. I'm like, time to go to do what? They're like, this is it.
Actually later than that. It was crazy when we got the call. They said we had to be there by 10 a.m. So that gave us a little time to get ready. We thought we'd have to leave right then, but we actually tried to get a little sleep, which was hard because, we were panicked, but we thought we need a little sleep and then before we get on the road. But luckily, since it was summer, both kids were out of school.
Right.
So that worked out well too. So we didn't have to kind of worry about them. And we had, called a neighbor and made sure they would look in on them and family and everything. But I remember it was funny because I was speeding, trying to get up there, and we actually got pulled over.
Oh, wow.
And I said, I'm so sorry, but we're trying to get to Cleveland for a transplant. Right. And the police officer was like, okay, just be careful. So, but then, we waited all day, and they, ran some tests on you again, and And, it was a long day of waiting, and it really wasn't until 9 o'clock at night
Oh my
that they
goodness.
came in and they said, we thought we weren't going to get it, but apparently they were, unfortunately, it was probably an accident that had happened, to the donor. So the family was having a hard time, I think, with that.
Yes.
And different people from the family, we were told, kind of wanted to come in to the hospital. So, our hearts went out to them. I know we talked a lot about that. Like, we're here waiting for life and they're dealing with death, and
It's really
so,
hard.
yeah,
It's
we
very-
had a lot of time
Yeah.
to, just be together and talk through things. But we really thought it probably wasn't going to happen because it was so late. But all of a sudden it just was the blink of an eye. They were rushing him out and we were, I was saying, I love you. And
Yes.
it just happened so quickly then when it did happen. And then overnight, I went back to the hotel because they told me just go. I mean, it's going to be like 8 hours to just try to get a little rest. And then I remember distinctly getting the call that everything went well, that everything went great. And so that was so exciting. And I came over and at first he looked horrible, I would
Yes.
say, the next day
Yes.
with tubes everywhere. And I was trying not to be in tears in front of him, and he was in and out, kind of consciousness. But I'll have to say, then the next day I came, and he looked great.
Completely
He was- Yeah,
different.
he was like sitting up, and I couldn't believe it. He was totally conscious and looked great afterwards.
Pain relievers work wonders.
Yes. Yeah,
sure.
but it was quite the experience, but we were so blessed, that everything that we were able to get. They said it was the healthiest intestine they'd ever seen. that
Oh,
he
my
got.
goodness.
So that was a blessing as well. So we were so
Yes.
thankful.
So, Jim, once you came to and you woke up and like, did you have this like feeling like I feel normal? Like because I have to imagine with Crohn's, a chronic disease like that, like you didn't feel well for so long.
No. It was a pretty long recovery period.
Okay.
Yeah, in fact, they had to go in at first. The first time I went to surgery, it didn't quite work out like he wanted to, so then I had to go back in and he had to make some adjustments or something like that. So I have a very strange anatomy, but yeah, I mean, just the recovery, you're on liquids for a long time. They don't even introduce any kind of solid foods or anything like that. So, but I was in the hospital for
A couple months, till
yeah.
mid-August.
Okay.
seems like
Yeah.
it, but then I had to stay in Cleveland.
Right.
But once I got like out of the hospital, finally, like that last tube came out and everything, it was like, okay, I think I'm going to be normal again.
Yes.
Yeah. So as much as I say he looked great, like the second day, there was still
There was a long road.
Then after again
Yes.
those initial
Yeah.
pain meds went, it was a long time, and that was a struggle too because he had to stay in the hospital for quite a while, and he's up in Cleveland, and then he had to stay basically in a hotel for a while. So I had coordinated. I called in favors from family and friends to kind of take turns going
Right.
up to be with him. Like I would go up and I would bring my daughter, but I still had to work
Right.
and manage the kids.
Yes.
Even though it was summer. So I had different people going up there at different times because I just didn't want him to, even though for a long time he was still in the hospital and he was getting, care every day, but I wanted him to have, somebody,
Absolutely.
family or friend there
Some
too.
familiarity, right?
Yes,
Right.
yes. Somebody to talk to and cheer him on and everything too. So I coordinated like a whole schedule of different people arriving different times. So it was great when he finally got to come home, and then he had one last surgery removing the ileostomy bag. And then he was really, getting back to himself, and the first really exciting time was, well, I'd say being home too for Thanksgiving and the holidays. He missed 3 Thanksgivings, his favorite holiday. He
wow.
was in the hospital the past 3 years. So he was actually home for Thanksgiving, and then we got to travel together. It was probably a little too soon that he should have, but he
Yeah.
did it because our kids were both performing at Christmas time in Disney
Oh my
with
goodness.
choir and orchestra. So we were able to go see them because he had missed out on so many of their activities.
Right.
And it was our son's senior year in high school. So he was able to be there for all of his last activities, thank goodness, because he really missed
What
a
did
lot
that
of things for the kids.
What did that mean for you? To be able to really be present for that. For
Yeah, I
those
mean,
moments?
I'm trying not to cry, but yeah, I mean,
It's okay.
missing all that time with my kids
It's hard.
it really hurt me, yeah. So it was great.
I mean, the good thing is, I would tape everything, record stuff that he missed and everything. So
Yes.
I was able to
But-
still share it. I mean, it's not like being
Right.
there, of course.
But yeah, I came
but
back at a good time. I mean, I was
Yeah.
able to get my son through his senior year and off to college, and
Wow.
Yeah, you got
So-
all the, and then our daughter still had 2 years in high
Yes.
school, so you
Yeah.
got to be there really for a lot of her things. And I guess in a way, a good news too was a lot of the rough stuff did happen during COVID. So he didn't miss, like there was a whole year or so where he didn't miss that much because they
Right.
weren't able to
Right.
do a lot of activities. So
And you
Yeah.
guys were kind of all together, right?
right.
when you weren't in the hospital, they were all home a lot more
Right.
than they would have been. So
Right.
you did get to
And somehow
see
I
them.
managed to never get COVID, even after all those
Oh,
hospital trips.
oh,
so
thank goodness.
I just think I have a natural immunity to it or something.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's good. So
yeah.
Thanksgiving's your favorite holiday. What was it like being able to like truly enjoy the meal and being with family and
Yeah, I mean, it was wonderful. It was because I had lost 64 pounds in the transition, so
Wow.
that's really what you have to come back from is when you're dehydrated and you can't really eat solid foods. There's a lot of atrophy in your muscles and things
Oh,
like that. It
wow.
affects every part of you. So, but yeah, by the time I got through the whole thing, I was gaining weight and everything like that. So, but I couldn't eat my normal Thanksgiving dinner, which is, but
Right.
it was
But you got
finally good
tastes
to
of
be back
everything.
home.
You got
I had a
little-
taste of everything, and it was good to be somewhat normal again.
And home for Christmas.
Decorating the house for Christmas and getting back to our normal life as a family and everything, and then cleaning all the stuff because our family room also became my nursing area. So we didn't even put up a Christmas tree for a couple years in that corner because it was full of IV bags and all kinds of
yeah.
crazy stuff. So we were like, get all that out of here, and so we kind of got the house back to normal. And
That's great.
And the other thing that was great is you were able to go back to work too.
Yeah.
That January, and his company had held his job for him. He had been on long-term disability, first short-term, then long-term, and then he was able to go back to his job. And so he
That's
really
awesome.
slowly but surely got back to life
Being
the way
normal,
that
yeah.
it was before. It was shocking at how he was basically a skeleton of himself. And then, I mean, if you looked at him now, you wouldn't even know that
No.
anything had happened.
Right.
So we're just so lucky, all because,
blessed, I would
again,
say.
of that, blessed because of that person that said yes,
That's
that
right.
they would be a donor, and then having a great surgeon and just having, great health care, and that
Yes.
person that made that decision
Right.
that he wouldn't be here.
Well, we do joke all the time that I think I received a young woman's intestine because now I cry all the time at anything.
Oh,
He's more
Like
in
I
touch
could
with
watch
his
a Hallmark,
emotions.
I could watch a Hallmark movie and not cry when now I'm like, oh, even though they all start and end the same.
you already know how they're going to end, and you're still crying. Yeah, I do understand
Do
that.
cry at the drop of a hat now.
Oh, I love that. It has been said that a lot of times a recipient will take on some of the characteristics
Right.
of their donor. So if you could say anything to your donor's family, what would you say?
Well, it's funny, I did write this heartfelt letter to them, but due to all the processes it has to go through, I had to send it to Cleveland Clinic, and they had to kind of dumb it down, take all my information. Then that went to, so there's a place that Cleveland Clinic works with that gets the actual organs.
Right.
So it had to go through them to get to the people, and I don't know if they ever read the letter or didn't want to they didn't want to touch base with me or anything, but
Which
Yeah,
is
I-
understandable because
Yeah, I
it could go
mean-
either way because it's hard for someone, but he
Right.
felt very strongly that he wanted to at least try
reach
Right.
out
to
and
tell
thank
them what
yeah.
it meant. So,
Yes.
yeah, so in your letter, you talked about how important it was,
Yes,
right?
and how I hope they were, I know it was a tough thing for them, and I was hoping that they were finding some peace
Right.
finally. But yeah, just thanking them for whatever relative it was that did it, and that they blessed. I mean, I think they said one donor, you probably know this more than me, can save over 20 can save over 20 people, between all of the things that they can
Right.
donate. And
One organ donor could potentially save 8 lives and then heal up to 75 through the gift of tissue. And
right,
cornea.
tissue and stuff like that. Right. And
Yes.
so I just said they've helped all these other people besides me, but I just was just a heartfelt thanks, and I had always been an organ donor on mine anyway, but I mean, thank you is never enough.
Right.
But
I think you
But
told
yeah.
them too about our family, and now you got to be with your children and
Right.
told about the impact, right? How it gave you your life back to
Right.
see your kids' activities and be with them, and told. So I know he was really hoping maybe he could connect with them, but I mean that's a hard thing.
And you never know. Like
Right.
you've
Maybe they
taken that
won't,
step,
yeah.
but to your point, it's very hard, and just the processing of the grief, but it could happen when you least expect it, that you'll get a communication back.
right.
So, yeah, that, I think the beauty of organ donation is, yes, it saved your life. It gave you quality of life back, but also just the impact that it's had on your family, you being able to like really be present and part of your children's growth and their lives, and doing all the things, and creating all of these new memories. It's
Right.
just
And you start to wonder, I mean, you're wondering the reason behind all of it. And, people walk up to me all the time and say how inspiring I am to them and stuff,
yes, you are.
And because the whole time I went through it, I said, you go through the why me. And I'm like, why not me?
Right,
So
right.
hopefully I took it on for the family, and nobody in my family has anything like that. Hopefully I bore the cross for them. But yeah, a lot of people just say they're, I'm a walking miracle, or,
You're resilient,
yeah.
very resilient.
And it's all because of the donor, of course. They gave me
Yes.
a good, strong organ. allow me to heal. So.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of people have said that to us, like, you know, or because I saw what you all went through and how you never gave up,
Right.
you know, then I know that I can get through, you know, or I can be strong. There's something with my family and you did it, so we can do it, or, you know.
Right.
And actually, he just helped someone else that needed surgery that is having issues not exactly the same as his, but needed resection. And he didn't want to have the surgery, and he got together with him for lunch and talked him
wow.
into it, and he had the surgery 2 weeks ago. And now he's in the process of healing. So he actually
That's
is
great.
making a difference.
You really are.
So, yeah, it was actually a client of mine, her husband, who
wow.
Jim knew, and the client actually talked to me about it and said, I heard that you all went through something similar to this. And I said, well, let me talk to Jim and have him, you know, talk to your husband. And sure enough, the next day he called the doctor and scheduled the surgery.
Oh, that's wonderful. So since transplant, what has life been like for you? What have you been able to do? I hear you're the model patient, and you know, your doctors are always talking about all the great things you've been able to do and just the success of the surgery. So what have you been able to do?
Yeah, my surgeon in up at Cleveland Clinic is, I don't know if I can use his name, but it's Dr. Fujiki. If you ever have to have a transplant, he's awesome. But he was just amazed by how quickly that I recovered and everything like that. So he had me send all these pictures to him. The first one was just of me eating a huge slice of pizza. And he does conferences in Japan. And so every time I would send him a picture of us doing something different or something like that. So, but yeah, I've been able to get back. Kim and I like to enjoy the great outdoors, so we've done hiking and zip lining and going to the beach again. I mean, I was basically laying on a couch for 3 years and had
Right.
lost 64 pounds. So I could barely like walk around the house or get
Yeah.
up the stairs or things like that. So just being able to do things that normal people do, like take a shower. I mean,
The little things we take for granted.
yeah, everything you take for granted. So, but yeah, it's been great to be able to do all of that again.
Yeah, so he uses you as the model case study and shows all the pictures of you doing all these activities and eating big meals again, right, as a
Right.
great story of success.
I don't know about that zip lining, but I'll just take your word for it.
He loves pictures of me eating huge things. So
Yeah.
we were at our Christmas party, our sales Christmas party, and at the restaurant they had this. They just advertised it as a pork chop or something like that, but it was literally as big as my head. And so I just had my fork and my knife, and Kim took this picture of me about to dig into this. So I sent that to him. He's like, I'm going to use that one.
I love that.
So,
That's awesome.
but yeah, I mean, just being able to eat again is a blessing, right?
Right.
So
What's your
Those would be-
favorite Thanksgiving dish?
my,
Ooh,
fa-
your famous mashed
my
potatoes.
famous mashed potatoes, probably, yeah. But
Oh, and you
It's-
make them.
I make them,
Oh.
yeah. Yeah, we kind of split the duties on Thanksgiving. I do
Nice.
the turkey and the mashed potatoes, and Kim does all the rest of the stuff. But
Okay.
but now my son's getting to the point where he does a lot of helping and stuff like that.
Okay.
So he carved the turkey all on his own last year.
Wow.
So I said, hey, I'll be out to help you carve the turkey. And like I went somewhere, and 5 minutes later, he's out there. So he's becoming quite the little cook too.
That's
So,
very cool. Very cool. I feel like this is a really good place for us to conclude, although I feel like I
Right.
could talk to you forever. And also, I just noticed that you guys are matching, which I think is adorable.
We do that a lot.
So cute.
It's our thing.
Oh,
Right.
Well, it really has been a pleasure just talking with both of you and just feeling this bond between the two of you and Kim. I feel like just keep like you were the family manager, kind of keeping everything moving, but it's a beautiful story, and so I'm just so grateful that you're doing great, and you're going to continue to just be a blessing to others, and so thank you, and thank you for sharing your story.
Great.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
Anything
I
we
did
can
ask
do.
my surgeon if I got a 30-year warranty on it.
Yeah.
We had just an understanding between each other.
So how often do you go back to Cleveland Clinic?
When it first started out, I had to go 2 times a year
Okay.
for scopes, and then now it's once a year now, and I'm hoping after this year maybe stretch it out.
Okay.
But they like to keep an eye on things and make sure if anything would happen, they would catch it early. Mm-hmm. So.
And that's good.
But,
That's what you
We
want.
want to keep an eye on it.
That's right. That's right. Well, Jim and Kim, thank you so much for being with us today and for really just sharing your amazing story. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us. Anything we can do to help encourage people to donate.
Thank you. Thank you. So as we close today, and again, I thank my guests, Jim and Kim. I just would like to remind everyone who's tuning in today that there are more than 100,000 people who are waiting for that life-saving gift, the gift that Jim received. And you can be the difference. You can register to be a donor at registerme.org, and you can learn more about the organ donation process because it really does save and heal lives. I want to thank my guests again for joining me. I want to thank everyone for tuning in and just remind you to please be kind to yourself and to others. Take care.
Thank you for listening to This Thing Called Life. Subscribe on iTunes or wherever you get your favorite podcast to make sure you get updates on all new episodes. And we would truly appreciate it if you would share, like, or give us a review to help us grow.